The moon filtered through the roof gallery. A young boy, Nilimesh, maybe 7 or 8, is laughing as he chases his little sister around the living room. She squeals playfully, clutching her favorite doll. The scene suddenly shifts. Nilimesh now stands alone in the garden, the colors washed out, everything eerily quiet. He looks up and freezes. High above, on the roof of the old house, stands a shadowed figure. It's him. His eyes are empty, cold. Without a word, the boy on the roof lifts the little sister by the arms. Nilimesh tries to scream, but no sound comes out. That twisted smile widens, and the girl is thrown from the roof. Before she hits the ground, Nilimesh jolts awake, drenched in sweat, heart pounding, the sound of his own scream echoing in his ears. After waking from the nightmare, Nilimesh's life returns to its bleak routine. At school, he barely speaks. He keeps his head down, eats alone, moves like a ghost, drifting between classes. Rumors swirl. Some say he's cold. Others say he's weird. But no one knows the truth. Because ever since that incident years ago, every person who gets close to him meets a sudden, inexplicable death. Anyone who dares to talk to him more than a few words, gone. He knows it's the entity, the smiling copy of him in the dream, and sometimes in reflections. It follows him, punishes anyone who reaches out. So he stays quiet. He stays alone. But one morning, a girl from his class, Alicia, rushes to him in the hallway, panting. "Hey, wait! I need to ask you something." He ignores her, keeps walking. She tries again the next day. And the next. Finally, after days of being pestered, Nilimesh stops. Instead of speaking, he scribbles frantically in a small notebook and shoves a page toward her. Nilimesh says, "Stay away from me. If you talk to me, you'll die." Alicia stares at it, then looks straight into his eyes. "I don't believe that. Yeah, your earlier friends died after they talked to you, but that doesn't make it your fault. It can't just be coincidence. And why your doctor and watchman does not died yet." Nilimesh freezes. After Alicia's words echo in his head, Nilimesh starts thinking, really thinking. Maybe she's right. Maybe it's all just something his mind created after the trauma. Maybe the entity is nothing more than a shadow of fear he kept feeding. Slowly, he lets himself open up. He begins talking to Alicia. Just a little at first. A few words, a sentence. Then, full conversations. For the first time in years, Nilimesh laughs. For the first time, he feels normal. Days pass like this. He walks to school with Alicia, eats lunch with her. The entity hasn't appeared, not once. No mysterious deaths, no shadows in the corner of his eye. He starts to believe it's over. Then, everything shatters. One sunny afternoon, Nilimesh and Alicia are chatting outside the school gates. Alicia is smiling, waving to her father, who's walking toward them with a bag of groceries. Nilimesh turns his head casually and freezes, standing behind her father. Barely a step away is the entity, the twisted version of himself, the smile, the empty eyes. His blood turns to ice. "No, no!" Nilimesh screams, sprinting toward them with all his strength. But it happens in a blink. Her father collapses, lifeless, before Nilimesh can reach him. The groceries spill across the pavement. The entire street goes silent. When people turn around, Nilimesh is standing right next to the body, hands trembling, face white with horror. To everyone else, he looks like the one who ran at the man. He was closest. Dozens of eyes glare at him. Alicia stares at him in shock, tears forming, and the entity is gone. Panic explodes inside Nilimesh. Before anyone can even say a word, Nilimesh turns and sprints, past the school gates, past the stunned crowd, past Alicia calling his name. His heart is hammering so violently, it hurts. He reaches his car, fumbles with the keys, and peels away from the scene, tears blurring his vision. He drives until the city disappears behind him, until the roads grow sea, until he finally stops at a place he hasn't visited in years, his family's abandoned house. The old building stands silent, swallowed by vines and dust and memories. He collapses onto the floor inside, shaking. His thoughts spiral. Why him? Why her father? Why didn't I see it sooner? Why did the entity choose him? Hours pass as he sits there, surrounded by the dark, thinking and thinking, until his mind feels like it might shatter. Then, something clicks. A pattern. A horrifying realization. It wasn't simply people he talked to. It was people he connected to. But then another question eats at him, twisting like a knife. Why not Alicia? He talks to her. He cares, more than he should. Why is she still? Why her? But not her dad. Nilimesh's mind races. Nilimesh slowly rises from the dusty floor, his legs still trembling. Moonlight slicks through the cracked window, painting long shadows across the abandoned room. His eyes are hollow, but there's something new inside them. Determination, mixed with fear. He wipes his face with the back of his sleeve. If this thing is connected to me, if it kills the people I care about, then I have to understand it. And then the question hits him like a punch. Should I go back to the place where it all started? Nilimesh slams the car door shut and starts the engine. He drives away from the abandoned house, heading toward his hometown, a place he promised himself he'd never return to. But then, a whisper of laughter cuts through the sound of the rain. A low, twisted laugh that sends cold needles crawling up his spine. Nilimesh glances at the rearview mirror, the entit not touching the ground, gliding, its head tilted at an unnatural angle, eyes wide, lips stretched in that terrible smile. It laughs louder, the sound echoing like something breaking. Nilimesh's heart slams against his ribs. He floors the accelerator, but the entity keeps up effortlessly. And then, up ahead, the road flickers with lightning. The entity suddenly appears in front of the car, blocking the path, illuminated by the storm. In its hands, it holds something. Nilimesh's Rudraksh beads, the sacred threads meant to protect him from evil. The ones he wears out of fear every single day. The entity grins wider, eyes glowing as it stretches the sacred beads between its fingers. Snap! The Rudraksh breaks, beads scattering across the way. The spellbound threads fall apart, ripped to pieces. We goes to a past scene we see before. Before the main character, Nilimesh, became silent and isolated, he was completely different. He was confident, aggressive, and cruel. He bullied his twin brother every single day. They looked the same on the outside, but inside they were complete opposites. Nilimesh was strong, popular, dominant. The twin was quiet, sensitive, emotionally fragile. The bullying started small, insults, mockery, but soon turned into something darker. Nilimesh enjoyed watching his twin break. Every time the twin cried, Nilimesh felt a twisted sense of satisfaction. He made fun of him in front of their sister, parents, friends. The twins' depression grew into a storm inside him. One night, the twins' parents were out, and Nilimesh pushed his brother too far. He humiliated him. The twin, shaking with rage and emotional breakdown, he goes to roof and throws his little sister from the roof, only to give pain to Nilimesh. He killed her. He didn't understand what he was doing. He was blinded by years of pain, hatred, and confusion. Nilimesh found him holding her lifeless body. When the parents returned and saw the horror, they lost control. They beat the twin brutally, years of anger and frustration exploding all at once. They dragged him into the forest at night, in a storm, leaving him there to die like an animal. He screamed for them to stop. He screamed for his twin brother, Nilimesh, but no one came. Animals found him. Cold, hunger, and terror finished the rest. But in his last moments, his thoughts weren't about forgiveness. They were about revenge. His spirit stayed behind, twisted by trauma, hatred toward his twin, Nilimesh. The ghost took on Nilimesh's face, but distorted, a psychotic mirror image. Years later, Nilimesh grew silent, guilty, destroyed internally. The entity began killing people connected to him, teachers, neighbors, anyone who showed him kindness. It didn't kill randomly. It killed to hurt Nilimesh emotionally. It killed Alicia's father because he was kind to Nilimesh. It spared Alicia because her suffering was more satisfying. It tormented Nilimesh every night with whispers of guilt. Nilimesh finally realizes the truth and confronts the entity at the abandoned family house. Rain pours. Thunder cracks. The entity appears with a twisted grin, the face of his dead twin. Suddenly, a group of sorcerers and priests surround the house, performing a high-level exorcism. The entity shrieks and attacks. Some priests get killed. Some are thrown. The barrier almost breaks. The entity grabs Nilimesh, screaming, "Feel it! Feel what you did to me!" Nilimesh, crying, screams back, "I bullied you. I destroyed you. I caused everything, but I won't let you destroy anyone else." The entity hesitates just for a second, because hearing that truth breaks its hold of power. The sorcerer sees that moment. A massive ritual seal activates. Chains of light bind the ghost. The entity screams in rage and agony as it disintegrates, pulling the very air with it. Finally, silence. The entity is destroyed, but Nilimesh collapses, broken by guilt and memories.